Hi everyone, I'm excited to share with you a new feature on Pen and Chase for commissioners who run their leagues. This feature is called Automatic Days Off. It's going to give you the ability to inject days off into your schedule, extra days off that you may not already have. So let's dive into it here. You'll see I'm in my sample league and I'm going to go into Commissioner Tools. And the first thing I want to point out is that you will see some new links here in the left column of Commissioner Tools. The second link under Schedules and Drafts now says Add Automatic Days Off. This is the feature we're going to cover in this video. There are also these new links at the bottom, Automated Postseason. That is a super cool new feature I'm going to talk about in a different video because it's a pretty extensive feature. But for now, we're going to cover the Automatic Days Off feature. Now, before I go there, I just want to point out that number one, this video is going to be geared toward people who have already run leagues on Pen and Chase and are familiar with running leagues on Pen and Chase. If you're not, that's okay. You might be able to glean some things from this video, but I am going to assume you have experience as a commissioner. The second thing I'll say is that I'm doing this in a baseball league for the purposes of this demo, but this works exactly the same for all the sports on the site. And I also want to point out before we jump into this that all the current features for days off still work as expected. So don't think you have to create more days off or that other features have been turned off. They have not. So if I go to change league settings, for example, and I go down to injury and fatigue, and you see grant teams days off, it says, if yes, teams that have no game scheduled on a day will be granted a day off. So if you've built a schedule, maybe you've imported one of the professional schedules from the import professional schedule tool, and teams have games on a day and other teams don't have games on that day, the teams that do not have games on that day will be granted days off. If you have this selected to yes, that feature still works as expected, no change there. So keep that in mind. Also, of course, you have your manual grant days off capability here under season tasks. And just like before, you can choose to manually grant days off whenever you want. That all still works, but this automated days off feature, let's dive into it. This is going to give you the ability to inject days off into your schedule automatically. So let's say, for example, you have an all-star break and you want to grant the whole league 3 days off in the middle of your season. You could set it up here after you've created your schedule. You can set it up here and you won't have to remember to do it manually, which is going to be pretty nice. So you can see it's pretty simple. You've got 3 choices to make here. The first thing is, after which day of the season do you want to grant this day off? You'll see with the drop down, I only have 7 games on my current schedule. It's just a very short schedule to make this demo simple. Let's assume after the 4th game of the season, I wanted to grant the entire league a day off. Now you'll see here, you've got tons of options here. So you can grant the day off for a particular league. You can grant the day off for a particular division under that league, or you can grant the day off to a specific team under that division. You can go as granular or as broad as you want to go here. So let's just say for the purposes of this example, I'm going to grant a day off after day 4 to the entire league. Now you also have the option here to repeat this day off. This would be handy if you were building out, let's say a college schedule where, every 3 days you want to grant your league a day, multiple days off, because that's how college leagues work. This would be a way to do that very quickly. Again, once you've built out your full schedule, you can come in and do that here. Let me just add this day off real quickly. And you can see once I do that, I now have a day off saved here at the bottom. After day 4, the entire league will get a day off. Let me delete that real quick. And let's say I wanted to do like a college league. After the 3rd day of the season, I want to grant the entire league a day off. But I want to repeat that after every 3 games on my schedule. Okay, so then every 3 games, the league will get a day off. And I add that. And now you see that it's added the day off after day 3. and a day off after day 6, as I would have expected. My schedule's only 7 games long, so it didn't build out any more than that. But if you had a longer schedule, it would build this out throughout your entire schedule. Now, there's one problem with this is that I actually want 3 days off in between every 3 games. So what I need to do there is I just need to build this out a couple times. So I've done it once. I'm going to do it again after day 3, the entire league. I'm going to repeat it, and I do that. Now you see I've got 2 days off for the entire league after day 3, 2 days off for the entire league after day 6. I just have to do this one more time. And now I've got 3 days off after day 3, 3 days off after day 6. Again, if I had a bigger schedule, it would do that through the whole schedule. And now I'm set. If I'm running a college league, for example, I don't have to worry about manually granting days off anymore in between sets of games. And of course, as I mentioned, you've got some really nice granular control. So let me just clear these out just for the purposes of showing you that, let's say after the first game of the season, I'm just going to have the Boston Dragons take a day off, right? And let me just add another one in here just to make this visually interesting. Let's just say after day 5, I'm going to grant the Central Division in the American League a day off. Okay, now what I want to show you is how this is reflected in the schedule. So if I go to the schedule, you'll now see in your 3-day outlook that at the end of the day, it'll give you a little indication here of which days off are happening after the day. So after day 1, day off for the Boston Dragons. And then if I look at the full schedule, since this is the 3-day outlook, we're only seeing day 1 through 3. But if I switch to all upcoming games, now I'm going to see the day off for the Dragons after day 1. And I'm going to see the day off for the American League Central after day 5. So anything you add here is going to be added to the schedule, and that makes it really nice for owners to be able to prepare for things like what days off are coming. This works for the all-team schedule or individual schedules as well. So if I'm looking at my team schedule, I can quickly see which days off might apply to me. So that's handy. The last thing I wanted to share that I think is really cool is that finally the 3-day outlook is going to actually reflect days off when it considers the pitching rotation. So in order to demonstrate this, what I'm going to do here is the Boston Dragons have a day off, right? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to Commissioner Tools, and I'm going to give the Boston Dragons after day 1. I'm going to give them a couple more days off. So I'm going to add one more and then another one. So now I've got 3 days off for the Boston Dragons after the first game of the season. So they're going to go into a magical tank of health, and they're going to get healed up for 3 days before they have to play their second game of the season. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but I'm just doing this for the sake of the demonstration. And now I'm going to go into the schedule and look what happens to the 3-day outlook. So the Boston Dragons are here. Max Scherzer is their ace. He's pitching day 1 of the season, right? And then there are 3 days off. Now Luzardo is their number 2. He pitches game 2. That makes total sense. But now look what has happened on game 3. Scherzer is back on the mound for game 3. Why? Because, well, he got 3 days rest, a 4th day rest on day 2. He is ready to go for day 3, and that is now reflected in the 3-day outlook. So that's a really nice thing that we haven't had before. So anyway, I'm excited to have this feature available for you all. Like I said, I think this is a feature that is going to be used relatively sparingly for most leagues. You'll probably use it for things like mid-season breaks, or if you're looking to just sort of randomly throw some days off in there to mix up pitching rotations. Keep in mind, if you're doing this for football, it's not a day off, it's a week off, right? If you throw extra quote unquote days off, you're giving a football team an entire week off, assuming you play one game a week like a normal football league. So that's something to keep in mind. I would imagine most football leagues probably wouldn't have to use this feature. The other thing to keep in mind before I sign off here is that when you delete your schedule, it is going to delete your days off as well. So just keep in mind that after you create your new schedule, if you create a new schedule for each league or each season, you're going to just have to go back in here and add your days off. Since you're deleting your schedule, the system assumes that all your days off at this point are moot, and you're going to have to go in and sort of re-choose which days you're going to have off. So anyway, I hope this feature comes in handy for some of you, and thanks for watching.